We appreciate everybody being here today. I'm going to go ahead and read the life story. Joyce Marie Beeler Fouts was born September 22nd, 1934. Joyce was number 7 of 10 siblings in her family, a fact that she was very proud of, and because of her birth order, maybe made her the one that would not be overlooked. The family of 10 children was extremely close-knit. If you are from the Jinx area, you likely know one of the Beelers. Joyce was ornery and fun-loving, and her laughter let everyone know that she was in the building. On July 2nd, 1952, she married John Paul Jones after a whirlwind romance. They were married for 38 years when he preceded her in death on March 17th, 1990. She raised 2 kids and worried over everything they did, wanting the best for them always. Through the years, she baked hundreds of pies, and I can actually make that probably thousands because she made hundreds for us, and catered as many weddings. Her favorite weddings, of course, were her nieces and nephews, who she made lavish wedding cakes for, only the cost of the ingredients. She also raised 90,000 broiler chickens a year with her husband, John Paul. She was a source of inexhaustible energy and never stopped going. Her most precious gift, however, was her granddaughter, Joy. They went on many adventures together, and Joyce taught Joy the art of her orneriness. One Christmas in particular, she and Joy got up in the night and skillfully opened up the presents so that no one could tell that they had been tampered with. Her next favorite thing of all were her great-grandsons. She liked to quote Daffy Duck's aunt by saying to them, "Where are my hugs? Where are my kisses?" Even when they are nearly grown men, while they respond with hugs and kisses. Her goal in life, however, was to make sure that everyone knew Jesus. She didn't see many people in the last few years, but she had a routine every single morning of reading her Bible and her Jesus Calling book and playing her Southern gospel music very loud. Her family was her life, and they don't know what they will do without her. But find joy in knowing that she is reunited with her family gone before her and her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Joyce is survived by her daughter and son-in-law, Paula and Rick Hutchings of Tulsa, her son, Tom Jones of Jinx, her granddaughter and her husband, Joy and Eric Anderson of Tulsa, and 3 great-grandsons who are the light of her life, Christian, Dylan, and Parker Anderson of Tulsa, and many nieces and nephews. She is preceded in death by her husband of 38 years, John Paul Jones, her 3 brothers, and 6 sisters.
Oh, good. I get to finagle a mic and my phone. Hi, family and friends. I was just going to say family because if you're friends of Joyce, you know your family. So, and we call you family too. We are all here for the last time to say goodbye to the last of a generation. I've sat where you all are sitting over the years, and we've said goodbye to your parent or grandparent. And my heart is broken for each and every one of you, but I was always grateful that I still had my granny. And now it's our turn, and I see your faces where I sat, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you're here to help us say goodbye. I hate funerals. You've heard me say that over the last few days. I didn't want to do this. I hate that we come together attempting to immortalize what's mortal because, ironically, in doing that, we forget that they are immortal. We wanted to bring reminders of that today so that we don't forget, so that we aren't seeking the living amongst the dead, because it's really hard to wrap your head around when there is a casket and the mortal shell of someone that you love right there in front of you. I've never really understood why we do that to ourselves. We know they aren't here, yet we expose ourselves to the irreconcilability of someone being both here and yet not here. So I'm here as the angel at the tomb today to remind you that she's not here. The one we seek is in the presence of the Father. She's flown these earthly bounds. I know that we selfishly grieve because we miss her so much in everything, in every minute of every day. The void is going to be deafening for a while. Our hearts are going to break over and over. Every remembrance, every birthday, every holiday, her absence is going to be felt. But do you know why that is? Because we're still seeking her here, and she doesn't belong here. None of us do. This is a pit stop along the journey to our true home. Yet we fight so hard. We beg doctors, we beg God, please keep them here with us a little longer. And we feel guilty when our efforts fail. We think, what could we have done differently to keep them here? And I don't know why we do that. Why do we fight so hard against the glory that awaits them? The joy, the peace. One of Granny's favorite verses is Isaiah 40:31. Yet those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. Why on earth do we pray to keep our loved ones from that? So we aren't doing a funeral today. We are celebrating. This is Joyce's going away party. Well, there is a welcome home party going on in heaven. So he's got parties all around. And I don't know if she can see us, but if she can, she's just going to love seeing all of you here. Every face in here, all of her family in one place. And this is my final and greatest honor to stand here with our family and talk about the woman she was here on this earth and the legacy she leaves behind. Of course, I can only speak from my personal memories and experiences. So really, if any of you have any interjections, please join in. If you have stories you want to share, I'd love for you to come up here and tell us their favorite memory. She was an ornery, funny woman. And I know that there is a lot of funny memories out there that you'll be thinking about and smiling, and we want to hear those too. I want to share something cool with you, though. The morning before she left us, Mom went to see her, and she said, they told me Lehman was going to come get me. And Mom said, who? And she said, Lehman. He's supposed to get me and come take me to Jane's house. I got to tell you, it's a little hard to be sad about that. I can close my eyes and I can see the joy on her face of seeing her big brother. Whole, well, I imagine he came in and said, Joe, it's time to go. I'm so grateful for the faith this family has, the hope that we have, and knowing where all 10 of them are. I know you can see it too. The party happening in paradise. I wish we could see it. I know if we could see what's going on right now, we would not be sad at all. I got a text from Amber Thursday. She said, Mom and I were just having a laugh cry thinking about Joyce and Jane's reunion. You know, Jane had to be the first to show Joyce around. And that made me smile, and it made me stop and imagine what's going on there, because I can see and hear every one of them. I hear their voices and I know what they would say. She could probably hear Aunt Sue all the way across heaven. I'm surprised we can't hear Aunt Sue. I bet she still hasn't let go of Aunt Jane's hand, patting it as they walk. I can see her rejoicing to see Aunt Ruby, she's missed so dearly, seeing her in full health, seeing all of them as they should be, perfected. And I can imagine Grandma welcoming the last of her 10 children home. Granny has already wrapped her arms around my grandpa. What has been over 30 years of separation for her has been a blink for him. She has hugged and laughed with her friend Eva, her fabulous laugh that we will miss so much. There are others that aren't known to you, friends and loved ones from her past that I know she's hugging on. And you can argue with me if you want, but I know that her favorite granddog met her there, and she's probably feeding him scraps, but she's probably making him stay in someone else's mansion, because she always said she loved pets as long as they live with someone else. So we'll see if Xander has any effect on her in the afterlife now that he's, perfect. She spoiled them rotten. I was constantly getting onto her about feeding them from the table, because she knew that she gave dogs food, they'd love her. So that's what she did. My grandpa was always dragging animals home, even one time a raccoon. And she could name every dog with affection. There was a French bulldog. There was the Chihuahua that I think was supposed to be Tom's, but it followed her everywhere. There was Duchess. There was Lady. And, of course, if you're from Stillwell, you remember Sir John, the Doberman. And At some point, it occurred to them to let a 2-year-old Joy name the dog. I named it Butts. So she likes to tell that story. I don't know why they didn't rename the dog, but okay. The final dog they owned was Chief the Flower Killer. He was a Labrador, and he would destroy her flowers. And I can't believe she didn't find that dog a new home. Granny loved so big and so hard. She worried herself sick over every struggle any of us endured. And she loved to spoil us, every one of us, but she worried the most over her children. There was never any question as how much she loved them. Tom and Paula were her world, and I grew up knowing that because she loved to tell me stories about them. Most of them funny. I got to tell the dog. They had a dog when they lived in Sapulpa that actually followed them into the schoolhouse. What was the dog's name? Do you remember? Bozo, of course. Bozo the dog followed them into school. They called her. She had to go get the dog. She met my papa in 1952. They had a very short engagement before they were married on July 2nd. We actually have the picture up there, after wedding picture. I wonder if he remembered to wish her a happy anniversary. My mom, Paula, was born the following June, and my uncle, Tom, the year after that in July. They raised their kids in Sapulpa, eventually buying a chicken farm in Stillwell where they raised 30,000 chickens at a time. But that wasn't enough for her. Donnie was telling me how she would make donuts, and he would help her take them into town and sell them. And Mom and Uncle Tim had a donut route. They would go on and deliver donuts. They'd go and they'd pick up the day-olds and deliver more donuts. And that's before she opened the donut shop. So she eventually opened the donut shop. My papa would get up and make the donuts before going to work at the post office. Later, they opened a catering business and a restaurant. So she never sat still. I wonder how many times he shook his head at what Joyce wanted to do now. And he just did it with her anyway. So despite running a business and a chicken farm, her house was immaculate, and she never failed to have dinner on the table promptly at 5. She was a woman of routine, and I never realized how hard it was to do all that until I tried to do it myself. She made it look easy, and she was always appalled that I didn't have dinner on the table at 5. So did someone say something? Oh, it's your phone. Okay. When, Eric's job, we never knew when he was getting home. So I could get it on the table at 5, but he may not be there till 7. So this new generation was something that she just didn't quite understand. And not too many years after moving to Stillwell, I was born. I had a young granny. She turned 40 almost exactly a month after I came. When I was little, I remember asking her why she didn't look old like all the other grandmas. You can hear her laughing about that. I spent as much time at her house as I did my own, and let me tell you, she was fun. I have a little board out there with some pictures of what a fun granny she was. I was her living baby doll. She made me frilly dresses. She styled my hair in ringlets. I would come over to find that she had a tea set up with the Barbie dolls or a new Barbie doll house to play with, and she loved to sing with me. So she was my first playmate. I remember how important her family was to her even then. I remember her calling sisters and talking on the phone for hours, and how much she loved my mom and uncle. Even then, even as a child, it was evident in everything that she did. Holidays were the best. We would sit outside together and watch. So, in her house in Stillwell, you had a 2-mile trek before you turned to her house. And if someone was coming, you could see the car lights. And we used to sit out there and we'd watch for the car lights so that we knew when Tom was coming. She made everything exciting and fun. That's just who she was. She and my mom did everything together growing up. My childhood's full of memories of traveling, weekend getaways, and many, many, many trips to Jinx. She made traveling to cater weddings an adventure. She would treat us to hotel stay, which I always thought was such fun. Raise your hand if Joyce made your wedding cake. I remember most of all of your weddings. Of course, she lived for that. We had a laugh with the funeral director when we dropped off the photos. She said, when you said wedding cakes, I was thinking cute little wedding cakes. No, not Joyce. She didn't do anything on a small scale ever. I had about 25 people at my wedding, and we had a cake that would have fit 250. We were giving layers of cake away, entire layers. Like, please take this cake with you. No way we could have eaten all of it. We had a small family. There's 9 of us here. We had holiday meals that would easily feed twice that much. So we had a standing open seat at holidays for any strays we wanted to bring because there was always more than enough food. She didn't make just 1 pie. She made 5 at least because she knew everybody's favorite. We're really going to miss her apple pie. I'm going to have to eventually buck up and learn to bake. But until then, Mom, you're up. She was at my house once and was completely appalled. She was looking around the cabinets and she said, "Where's your Crisco?" I said, "I don't use Crisco." And she said, "Well, what do you make your frosting with?" And I opened the cabinet and had a can of frosting. She just shook her head. But that's, frozen pie crust, pre-made frosting. That's how I roll. I'm going to have to get the hang of this. She went big with everything. If it wasn't enough having a catering business, she opened a catering business and a bakery. And then she opened a restaurant along with a chicken farm. And then she wanted to travel. This woman wore us out. In fact, it hadn't been all that long ago that she stopped running circles around me. I'm serious. I would watch her go and go and go, and she'd make me tired. And I'd be like, how are you still going? I mean, she'd get done with one thing and then she'd go shopping all day. And I'd be like, it's 5 o'clock. I'm ready for bed. When she wasn't working hard, she was playing hard. She loved going to Florida. She's been to the UK. She's been to Canada. So Susan was telling me she found a picture when Marion Lehman went to Florida with her, and she had her travel trailer, and she had a little white picket fence sat outside her travel trailer. Mom said, "Of course she did." And so Pastor Doug stopped by yesterday. He was telling me that she was the unofficial travel agent for the seniors at Crossroads Church. She would book all the tickets for Branson shows. She loved going to Sight and Sound. Hotel, travel, shows. She'd get everybody checked in, and then she'd have snacks made at the hotel for them, and they'd get back from the show. And he said she treated them all like they were her kids. So we've got snacks in here, and here's some sandwiches I made. And she made a birthday cake every month for whoever's birthday was that month. She just loved celebrating people. She loved taking care of people. I grew up knowing that I was her favorite person. No matter what, Granny was on my side. I enjoyed favorite status for 26 years until I gave her 3 great-grandsons. Oh, she still loved me to the moon, no doubt about that, but I was now in second place. And it was all well and good until she thought I did something mean to her grandbabies. And let me tell you, I heard about it. She loved and loved, but she didn't love anyone as much as she loved my boys. They were the lights of her life. She loved to tell stories about them over and over. I found a folder of little books that she used to make when she would babysit Parker. He would draw little cartoons for her. She kept every single one of them. When we were going through pictures for the slideshow, we had to dig through hundreds of pictures of little boys. I can't find fault in her for having way too many pictures of the cutest little boys ever. She was a healer, both by way of her loving nature and her faith. So many times she's held my hand and brought me comfort. On her last night, Mom and I each sat on the bed and we held her hand. She was so uncomfortable, and we sat there holding her hand, and she would pat, pat, pat. Throughout this ordeal, holding her hand brought her comfort, but we learned that from her. She was ornery. I don't know how many of you have any idea. You probably do, but She was ornery. She wouldn't put names on our Christmas presents, so we wouldn't even know which ones were ours because she was the one that would unwrap them. So she wanted to make sure that none of us did that. We always opened Christmas presents on Christmas Eve because she couldn't wait till Christmas morning. Her April Fool's tricks were legendary. Okay, I have to tell you this one. So I worked for WorldCom, and we had an all-expense paid trip to Canada. It was like a reward trip, and they always went way, way out on these trips. So I'm in Canada at the end of March. So it's 7 o'clock in the morning on April 1st. The phone rings, and it is the concierge, and they say, "Hi, we have a call from your grandmother." And I look at the clock, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Okay, put her through, and she goes, "Oh, well, because it's an international call, you have to come to the front desk." Now, if you go Google Banff Springs Hotel, this thing is a castle. It would have taken me easily 20 minutes to get down to the front desk. So I sigh real big, and she goes, "Just kidding. She said to tell you April Fools. I'll put her through. It gets better." So they put her on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, Granny, you're so funny." And she said, "Actually, I'm downstairs." Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. These trips, they had an open bar, and I was 25 years old and owned the world, and I had way too much wine the night before, and I looked like I'd had way too much wine. I had a throbbing headache, and y'all know Granny's how she felt about alcohol, so now I'm panicked. So I said, "You did not drive to Canada." She said, "Yeah, Gerald and I thought it looked like a fun place to go, so we loaded up the fifth wheel and came to Canada." Silence, because I'm like, "Oh no." Then she breaks it. "No, that's the real April Fools. Thank goodness." So this woman makes an international call to me on a trip just to April Fools me. So, that went back and forth my entire life, but that was the very best one. I probably deserved it for when I pulled on her when I was about 16. I called her and told her I needed a wedding cake. And she said, "Oh, no, Joy, no, you're not getting married." And I said, "Well, Granny, I kind of have to." Of course, I didn't, obviously. No, I didn't. But yeah, so I probably got paid back for that one. Of course, I had to break, because she would have just, I don't know. I kind of thought she'd had a heart attack right there on the phone. "No, April Fools, I'm fine. I don't need a wedding cake. It's all good." I singularly blame her for my coffee addiction. Before there was a Starbucks, there was Granny's house, and she would make me coffee and put hot cocoa in it. Voila, cafe mocha, before it was even a thing. I was probably 10. She was beautiful and gifted and stubborn and funny and the most girly girl I'd ever known. She had matching shoes, purses, and belts with every outfit, and I'm so happy to see my friend Amanda here today. Amanda would come over, and we would dress up in Granny's clothes, and she just thought it was the funnest thing ever. She would put her face on before my papa ever saw her in the morning. She was admitted to the hospital a couple years ago, and I was kind of gone to the doctor. "Hey, we're sending you to the hospital," kind of thing. And so I called her, and I said, "Is there anything you need from home?" And she said, "Yes. I want you to go in the bathroom, and right there on the counter is my eyebrow pencil." Of all the things one could want from home, not pajamas, not your phone, the eyebrow pencil was the priority. She loved to dress up, but even on casual days, she always had her face on so that she felt pretty, and she loved pretty things. Her house is full of them, and her garden. Flowers brought her so much joy. She loved wind chimes and sun catchers and whirligigs in the yard and bird baths. She loved birds too, and squirrels. All in all, the lesson she taught us was to surround yourself with things that you love. I recently read a thing that talked about finding the glimmer in everyday life, and that's what she did, the small things that bring you joy. There is a table right outside the back door. We have some of her precious moments figures that we brought today, and we want any of you that want one to take one with you. We want you to take one of the things that brought Joyce joy with you. It's as a memento, something that I think she would have liked. Finally, I want to talk about the true love of her life. Oh, how much she loved Jesus. Her morning routine was to first wash her face, make a cup of coffee, and sit down with her Bible every morning. She loved crosses and angels, but man, oh man, did she love Jesus. And she spoke words over each one of us. In November, her Facebook post was, "I pray all the time, day and night for my family. I never stop. I plead the blood, and not anything can get through the blood. Praise God, He is my life and breath." I have always known that when my faith failed, she was praying on my behalf. She prayed even harder than she loved. Jesus was everywhere, and He was in everything. You know, I could just stand up here and I could just talk all day about her. I could tell story after story because she was vivacious and she was always into something. Does anyone have any memories that you'd like to share? Since a slideshow is worth a million words, I'm going to let the slideshow do some of the talking now.
I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransom will find, I want a cold home, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder I will never more wander, but walk the streets that are pure as gold. Don't think me poor or deserted or lonely. I'm not discouraged, I'm heaven bound. I'm just a pilgrim in search of the city. I want a cold home, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder I will never more deserted or lonely. I'm not discouraged, I'm heaven bound. I'm just a pilgrim in search of the city. I wanna go home, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop in that bright land where.
So this is the only two doing all of this. So how many heard of the story of the red hen?
Red hen. Oh, yeah.
Who's the only ones that get to eat? Us.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that get to eat.
Okay. Sounds good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys. Love you.
I can only imagine it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Yeah. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever forever worship you. I can only imagine.
So I've been referring to her as was throughout today, but she still is. When we say was, what we really mean is while they were here, because we know the soul goes on. Granny taught me to love poetry. She even wrote her own. Out on the table, there is a song that she wrote after Grandma Beeler passed away. Sarah Teasdale is my favorite poet, and I found this Teasdale poem to be fitting. It's called A Prayer. When I am dying, let me know that I loved the blowing snow, although it stung like whips, that I loved all lovely things, and I tried to take their stings with gay, unembittered lips, that I loved with all my strength to my soul's full depth and length, careless if my heart must break, that I sang as children sing, fitting tunes to everything, loving life for its own sake. Pastor Doug, when he stopped by yesterday, said it best. She lived the way Christ intended us to live when he said, I come that they may have life and they may have it more abundantly. More abundantly means to have a superabundance of a thing. Abundant life refers to life in its abounding fullness of joy and strength for spirit, soul, and body. So how do we honor Joyce? How do we embrace her legacy? We follow Jesus. We pray even harder than we love. We surround ourselves with what we love. And we leave this building today and we live like she did, abundantly, fullness of joy and strength for spirit, body, and soul. That's her legacy. That's what she taught us. And that's how we honor her. I want to thank all of our family for the many, many calls, texts, hugs, visits. Thank you for loving her as if anyone could help it. Thank you for coming today. Help us say goodbye. Thank you especially for being loving, awesome, beautiful, honorary people that is the Beeler legacy. We love all of you so much. Do you all remember how we used to take over the steakhouses? Yeah? Okay, so we're going to Applebee's after this. Which one are we going to? Like 51st and Yale? Okay, we're going to Applebee's after this. If anyone wants to come, let us know, because we can't just take over Applebee's like we used to the steakhouse, so we probably need to tell them we're coming. But if you'd like to join us, please do. Don't forget to grab a memento. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? Yes? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Yes. I found one of those little bats in her jewelry box and it made me laugh. The one we don't have a picture of, my favorite one was it was trees. And Uncle Lehman helped her make so the pillars were trees, and their branches were holding up the layers, and it was the coolest thing ever. No, not even for me. She wouldn't even do it for me. That's the tree that I wanted. That's the cake that I wanted. I wanted the tree cake. And she said, you can talk Uncle Lehman into making the dowels, into making the dowels that hold that up. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. She made Christians in May, end of May. Okay, there's got to be more stories. Y'all are holding out on me. Okay, well, goodbye, Granny. I said goodbye to you several days ago, but final goodbye from everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. We love you all so much. Oh, yeah. So burial is at the family cemetery in Bixby. So we're just having a little bitty, is the preacher. We're just having a little bitty short sermon by he's at Crossroads, right? Yes, hi. So if you guys want to follow us out there, and then from there we'll be going to Applebee's, which was our favorite restaurant, by the way. That's why we picked that one.